Good day, I'm here with the Bullworker X5 Pro. Now, if you ask me, is this the best Bullworker that has ever been invented? I would have to say a resounding yes. Now, first of all, where to start? As you know, all Bullworkers typically come with this anti-slip mat. But with the X5 Pro, the anti-slip mechanic is actually built into the handles, both of them. So, if you put this on the floor, the ground, wherever, it's very steady. I'll show you. Right? So, very steady, doesn't slip away. Usually you would use this. If you would not use this, and you would use this, then as you can see, this slips away. This really doesn't. So, big difference. You know, no longer you need this thing. It's in the handles. Awesome stuff. So, another thing that they've changed, the size. So, it is bigger than a steel bow, but it is smaller than a bow classic. It's not too big, not too small. I think that most people would find this a very good size. Most people would enjoy using this, just for the size alone. So, there's that. And probably the biggest, most important change that they've made is they have replaced the handles, the cables, sorry. The cables, these things, these tubes, they have changed that for straps. Not 2, but 4. So, the difference is, so this is very important. I don't know how this works, but for whatever reason, this makes it so that if you grab 2 straps, 2 of the 4 in total, you get a different range of motion. Right? So I'll show you. So, if I grab all 4 handles, all 4 straps, this is the amount of range that I get. This is as much as I get out of it, right? So, if I grab 2 straps, again, I don't know how this works. To me, this is complete rocket science. I get a lot more range of motion. A lot more range. So what this means is a few things. For one, this unit comes with 5 springs. So, the white one, the yellow one, which is in this one. You gotta believe me on my word. Trust me, it's in here. The grey one, the black one, and then the red one. So, in that order. So, what this means is that for a lot of the cable exercise that you would usually do with a Bullworker, you do not have 5 levels of resistance, but essentially 10. So, a very nice option what this will give you is, for example, is when you do cable spreads. Just an example. It can be any cable exercise that you want. And let's say you do a few repetitions. You do a few repetitions and halfway you become a little bit tired. And you want to extend your set. Then you just change from 4 straps to 2. And then you can extend your set very easily. It also helps you to just get more range of motion out of some of the exercises you do, right? So, typically, what I've seen is that it's a little bit hard to explain, but let's say that you're going to use a very light spring in a Bullworker. Then usually you could fully extend the cables, almost completely, right? But if you use a heavier weight, you would get far less range of motion, naturally. But I don't know why, but for whatever reason, if you, even if you put in a much heavier spring, you just get a lot more range of motion. So, you can extend the movement a lot more, if that makes sense. It's something you will have to experience for yourself. I mean, one thing that I will say, like, it doesn't matter which Bullworker you own, if you don't own this one, you really want to own this one, because there's no Bullworker experience quite like this. So, with that being said, the last thing that I will probably touch on is the locking mechanism. So, I will just demonstrate this. So, the locking mechanism, it's not that it is, it's not that it feels cheap, but it doesn't feel expensive. So, it works, it's solid, it's reliable, but yeah, very easy, right? And if you put it in, there's a little bit of movement in here, right? You can hear it. Okay, probably will have to oil this one from what I just heard. And then you have this one. Okay, so this one is fine. So here with the locking mechanism, you hear no sound whatsoever, and it's actually a little bit of a challenge to unlock it. So there we go. So I'll show you here the yellow spring. I told you it's in here. You gotta trust me. So there we go. So the locking mechanism just feels a lot more expansive, if you will. Just feels a lot more solid. It's not that the locking mechanism on the older models doesn't work. It does its thing. It's reliable. It's safe. But this feels different. So with all of those things being said, oh yeah, I will also touch on the materials that have been used for this model. So the straps, they are, I'm not sure, but it's maybe Kevlar. It's very strong. So, I mean, a big selling point with the Bullworkers has always been that these cables are basically unbreakable. I think that while this does not feel as strong, this is probably still more than strong enough. I mean, this is not going to break anytime soon, and I will also say that it gives a lot of grip. Surprisingly comfortable in the hands. Like, more comfortable than you would expect, actually. So, if you see this and you think like, oh, this looks a little bit uncomfortable when you grab this, it's not. It's very comfortable, actually. So, you also no longer need these detachable handles, or handles in general. Like, there's far more grip on these straps than there is grip on these tubes, right? So, other than that, the materials that are being used, so yeah, the straps, the materials being used for the unit themselves are the same as with the S3, anodized aluminum, and the power meter is also laser etched. So you cannot scratch this off, like this is burned into the material. So very nice, very solid, great materials, feels very expensive, feels very luxurious. Yeah, really not much. No, there's nothing bad that I can say about this thing. I mean, this is the superior Bullworker. They have really outdone themselves in every regard. There's really, as far as I can say, nothing negative that can be said about this thing. So yeah, I love it. Have been using it for a few months. As I said, you know, if you own an S2, right? I will grab this one. If you, let's say you own an S2, right? And you're gonna ask me like, hey, should I get an S3? An S3 like this. Could I then say, yes, you absolutely have to own an S3? I couldn't. Because yeah, there's a difference in experience, but like, do most people want to pay another 200 euros, dollars for a new unit? I don't know. Probably, like, kind of depends on how much you got to spend. But if you own a Bullworker, even if it is an S3, but you don't own this one, you want to get this one because it's a really different experience. It feels almost like a completely different machine. It isn't. I mean, it's still a Bullworker, but it's just this extra range of motion, man. Nothing can beat this. It feels amazing. Feels great. It almost feels like you got a ton of new exercise, and it feels like you have a ton of new exercise methods that you can apply. Options for workouts, you name it. So, yeah, really a big upgrade. Great addition to any Bullworker collection. Yeah, if you don't own a Bullworker, you don't know which one to get, I would definitely say pay the extra bucks to get this, because just, you know, how to put it. Let's say that I would give this thing a solid 7.5, I would give this thing a 9.5 or something. Like, it is a huge difference in experience. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. That's as much as... this is not like a quality review, but just to show you all the differences that they've made and like all the things that I like about it. Just to, you know, I would have talked about negatives, but there are not any negatives, so that's my little review on the Bullworker X5 Pro. Thanks for watching.